Hello and welcome to the newest episode of The Founders Ark, our Lost Ark podcast. We are now in episode 4? Yes, 4. Oh boy, and we are just at episode 4 and I already have a problem with remembering which episode that was. We're now in episode 4 and we have a packed week behind us, but as always, I'm not alone in talking about this. Here's also with me, Mr. Beaver. Hello.
Oh, hello.
How are you doing today?
A little under the weather, but otherwise, doing all right.
I mean, you pulled a magical trick yesterday evening. You really did. You pulled daylight saving times out of your ass in the US. And that really confuses me. Because we didn't go daylight saving times. We will go into daylight.
Oh, you should have told me that because technically this is all off for timing. Oh man.
Yes. We are basically like an hour earlier for me. But
you told me I could have waited another hour.
Nah, that's good. That's fine. I'm living in EST anyways, and it's completely fine. Like mentally, I'm in East Coast time zones anyway, so, it will work out. But yeah, we will follow you 2 weeks later. I don't know why it is. So when it comes to daylight saving times, we are 2 weeks behind. But the other way around, we are 2 weeks ahead. I have no clue who came up with that and was like, yeah, this is logical. Let's do this to totally confuse the heck out of the people.
It just needs to be done with, to be honest. Like it's no longer a thing.
They tried it for years here in Europe, right? They even had something on their agenda and something in their lawmaking books and whatever. They were talking about it. Yeah, let's abolish it. Yeah, let's abolish it. Hey, we should abolish it. Oh yeah, we should totally do it. Every politician is like, let's do it, and nobody's doing it. That's why?
Yep.
You say you want to do it, you hate it yourself. Everyone from every political spectrum is it's a pretty shitty idea, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty dumb. And okay, wow. I think I have never seen politicians agree on anything like that, and they still don't manage to do anything. It's oh, man, we are screwed. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about Lost Ark, because we have a lot to talk about. It was a week. So, how is your Lost Ark doing? How far are you in the game? Are you already raiding Argos?
Oh, hell no. So we are getting close to T3. We have, even in our guild, we have one T3 member right now.
Ooh.
I'm 3 pieces away from T3.
Oh boy.
As we speak. But even getting T3, Argus is he's up there a bit in terms of the T3 content.
Yeah. Okay. So... Quick question in between. How was your mental level playing out right now with reaching T3? Are you already going crazy about the failures, or?
I've been very fortunate in terms of getting honing mats. I've actually gotten one extra 10% honing mat for my weapon and one extra 10% honing mat for my armor, which has come in handy, and I've gotten a bunch of Moon's Breath. So I've had probably 3 actual failures this tier because I've been farming like crazy if I can get those other mats.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to do it. Because I ran into one problem, and folks, this is one thing I will definitely recommend. If you're going to change your main, do it in between tiers.
Yes.
Because I switched from L to Beaver, which was my sorceress, to my berserker.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through tier 2 on L. L was 940. So I burned a lot of mats with L.
Yeah. The cutoff point, at least in South Korea, right? Which is, we would be a little bit different because different things. But basically in South Korea, the big consensus is if you really want to decide to go for another class, you will do it before you do Argus. Before Argus, everything is fun and games. when you want to reach the Argos level, you commit.
Yep.
At least if you're a free-to-play player. If you're, of course, somebody who has a lot of money to burn, then whatever. But yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's. I mean, they give you a lot of mats to level your first character through with the lower success rates and stuff like that. But if you end up burning it, like I did, on one, half on one character and half on another, it gets to be a struggle, to get that final character, your main, to that T3 area.
Yeah.
Basically, you want to get those stronghold patterns to make your honing and materials less for each tier once you get to the next tier.
Yeah, I really have to do that, man. I haven't done that yet. I have to admit. So I reached level 11 today on my main character with my tier 2, right? Level 11.
Nice.
On the honing. I had 2 failures so far. I'm not allowed to talk about it. Like, if somebody finds out about this, like maybe the...
Was that like the 80%?
No,
spot?
Yeah, that's already like the 70.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty early on. Yeah.
But it's still like, I'm 11 out of 15. So, and I had only 2 failures. I remember my tier 1 days, and they were
80%. Fail.
I don't want to talk about it. It's like, so far, I'm very lucky, and I want to keep it that way. So let's see how it works out. But yes, all right. So you're pretty close to tier 3. That's pretty neat. So how many?
I actually get it during the podcast. Ooh. I just got a cube entry ticket, which I was trying to farm because I got my chaos dungeons to do, and there's going to be a whole bunch of Moon's Breath from that. Let's go.
Yeah, I haven't. So what I'm trying with tier 2 right now, I haven't done any islands yet. Like, everything I have been doing is just through chaos dungeons and through guardians. Now, I was also a little bit lucky. I didn't really play a lot of Lost Ark last week, so I got a lot of bonuses on my materials because I couldn't really play last week. And so yeah, I have still the islands, I have still the boss rushes, I have still the cubes. Like, it's looking good to actually get out of tier 2 relatively quickly, all things considered.
And the Grand Prix stuff, the materials we're getting from that.
If like, so far, I mean, we can talk about this immediately if you want, if we are already on the topic.
I figured it was a good segue.
It's a good segue. We take that. I jump on that segue. Yes. So we had a big patch. They have a specific name for that patch. Let me see, what is it called? It is not the March update, just that. It is the Hunt for the Guardian Slayer. Yes, Hunt for the Guardian Slayer was the patch called, and it brought Argos, which is the big bad, the new big bad, and well, that is a completely different topic. But it also brought a lot of other things to the game, and one of them is the Grand Prix. So let me explain very quickly, for everyone who hasn't seen it yet, who hasn't tried it yet, what the Grand Prix is, and then we can talk about it. The Grand Prix, think about it a bit like Mario Kart. You have like a little dinosaur which is trying to get to the finish line with, 8 other players?
7v7.
Yeah, is it really 7 versus 7? Like,
yeah, so it's very interesting.
Never met my team.
Sometimes your team can get really far behind you and others, but basically you will see the enemy team. They are red bars. Whichever team finishes the most people across the line first gets a quote unquote bonus, but you could be like the first player on the enemy team and still get a quote unquote bonus. Honestly,
yeah,
you just want to do it because you get it's fun. It's super fun. It is at the top of every even hour. And like Mole was saying, it's like Mario Kart. You get little bombs that you can, I say poop out, that causes the enemy team.
I mean, they are poop bombs, literally. Yeah.
You can spit out like your tongue or whatever that is to spin someone out in front of you, and you can dash to try and get away from other things that are happening. So you got to be a little strategic, but it's overall just it's a fun experience. And at the end of it, you get a bunch of these tokens, which you also get from doing chaos dungeons, doing your raids.
Yep.
And you use those tokens for items that you can buy weekly, and it's so much mats. Not just mats, but like Una daily task tokens, the Phenon coins, pirate coins,
Books.
like all that stuff is
Books.
all in there.
Especially the class books. Oh, I still need to finish my class books, and I'm just banking on that right now. Like, oof, it's so good. Like, this is one of the things. Like, they also had new daily login rewards if you've missed it. So the old login rewards are gone, and we now have a new 4 month. I think it's going again.
Yeah, it's another month. Basically, it seems like they set it up from what they said. They're setting it up for each patch. So this is ours for this current patch, and then the next patch will have a whole new one.
It's like here's the thing. Like, I have to say, thanks to those events like the Grand Prix, the daily logins, I don't know if this really exists in South Korea. I will be completely honest. I think they will have some events there. I'm pretty sure of it. But I still feel like here in the West, we get tons of resources out of it.
I will say,
And it
I don't know.
works.
I think you guys might get more than we are on the NA server. I know the new European servers get way more than everyone else.
Oh yeah, no,
currently.
no, no, no. That's Europe West. They get
Okay,
something
I wasn't
else.
Sure if yours did as well.
No.
But yeah, they get a lot right now.
Yeah, they get a little bit different stuff. So that's neat.
They get what we have plus an extra 14-day bonus every 14 days.
Yep.
Or something like that.
Yep. They're making bank right now. But yeah, like we are getting quite a bit of resources, and I have to say I appreciate that.
Oh yeah. That's the only way I'm gonna get probably T3 today. Today's resource was 3 boxes of the honing shards. I was like, yoink!
Oh, I am 1 day behind. No, I missed 1 day. Yeah,
No,
one
you'll
day.
still be good though, because it helped. There's a
Oh,
few
y-
days
oh, yeah,
at
yeah,
the end
yeah.
of the month where I don't get anything because I already claimed it all.
Yeah, I know. I had that last month, but because of that, I'm 1 day behind. So I only got my pirate coins today. Sad. Not
Yeah,
that they are
Mario,
not.
you're gonna get a bunch of honing shards, which is fantastic. Because near the end levels, it requires so much just to level them up with the XP alone.
Yeah, and now that they also have like this is something I really don't like. Like I'm not the biggest fan of the holding system. I mean, we talked about that I think in the last podcast, right, where we talked about like the chances and all that. It's a bit tedious. And with tier 2, they added another resource on top of it, right? With the what is it? The what are those shards
It's like the
called?
little gems. I can't remember what they're called. Yeah,
Fusion shards, fusion gems.
something like that.
Something with fusion, I think. And it's like, oh no, you put another resource in here. Why? And apparently it gets worse with tier 3.
Yeah, tier 3 there is even more. Luckily, surprisingly, the new one they added for tier 2, I haven't actually run out of that. I've run out of the old resources like the shards, the stones and stuff like that. The little ones never really had a problem with.
Yeah, I was a little bit afraid of that because apparently you can create them in your stronghold. Like that's how you apparently get them. And I have to admit, I don't know if I have unlocked that. So I'm a little bit panicking here sometimes looking over to the little gems and I'm like, please be enough, please be enough. I don't want to craft that.
The stronghold, Matt, like the stronghold farm stuff that you got to do. Like I just finally crafted my first set of restore kits for trade skills. It took me almost 2 weeks to farm that stuff. And that's farming in my farm. Because you have to use farm mats for it.
Yeah. Oof. That's rough. That's rough. It's like, I know it's an MMO. I have been playing MMOs since Dark Age of Camelot. I have been around. But man, I know it's also an Asian MMO, but sometimes I have those days where I'm just looking at the stuff I need to farm, and I can't be bothered sometimes. I have those days where I'm just like, nah. Which brings us to another edition with this patch. But first, no, before we get to the other edition, what they didn't put into this patch is the catch-up mechanic a lot of people have been looking forward to. And it got so crazy that before the patch notes came out, the price for materials to upgrade your character from tier 2 to tier 3 just fall. Like, it was just going through the ground to the core of the earth, because everyone was expecting the catch-up mechanics and everyone was just selling them. So there were so many materials on the market that there were more materials than people were needed to buy them. They were dirt cheap, like really dirt cheap. And then the patch notes came out and, well, no catch-up mechanics. And you just saw those materials just go through the roof, or as we say today, to the moon. Like, ooh, people got rich.
To be honest with you, I don't understand the market when it comes to this stuff, because I don't understand the value. This is what I'm coming with, and I'll explain. You know, I've done the legendary maps. I'm sitting on 4 large leap zone, for the large life shards that I can sell in the market. I'm holding them because I can sell them pretty high. I know I can. I'm not using them because I don't feel like it's worth it to me to use them, because I can sell them for almost 1,400 gold.
Yep.
Like, and I don't know who wants to buy that, because I wouldn't buy that for 1,400 gold, especially if that's your chance to get a fail for a hone. You know what I mean? I don't get it.
It's probably for their second character. So, like, as I said, with tier 3, gold becomes lesser of a problem. You will get far more ways to actually make gold. And already the things which are giving you gold are skyrocketing as well. Like your abyss dungeons, right? Like, I think you can, per abyss dungeon, you can make like 1,400 gold or something.
Yeah, I know every time you get to the higher levels, it's more and more gold.
It's like gold becomes quite inflated when you are reaching tier 3. And apparently, from what I've heard, I'm not quite sure about it, because it became quite difficult to filter out the difference between what is already available here in the West and what is new to South Korea. Right, so that you were getting an idea what we have, what they have, what is still coming. And I heard that we apparently still have a few features missing, which would give us even more gold here in the West. So I don't know how true that is and what that exactly entails, but that is apparently still a thing. So yeah, gold, like, oh my god, I was, do you sometimes do the Chaos Rifts?
Yep.
When
That's
they
where you get the maps from. Yep.
Yeah, where they are like bidding on the maps at the end.
Yep.
Oh my god. So for everyone who doesn't know how this works, because maybe some people have never done that, you can do those Chaos Gates thingies where you're just running through an area, kill a bunch of enemies, and at the end you can get a map. But there's also like a high value map at the end people can bid gold on. And I kid you not, I had one group yesterday who bid like 6,000 gold on the map. And the crazy part about this one is you get a cut of that gold. So the gold is not going into the ether. People pay for it. It will be distributed to all the people which were in the group when that happened.
Yep. And those maps are like, that's where you get those resources that you sell on the auction house. Like, that's where I was talking about. You get those large sacks of that. Like, it's worth the gold to a certain extent.
And the crazy part here was we were also only 12 people in the group. So
Wow.
that got
nice.
really split up. I was really happy with that. Yeah, I was.
We had one the other night that someone kind of sniped it, so to speak. People were spamming, the low button, and someone hit 6K, and like people kept spamming, and it went up to 10K by accident. And they're like, "Ooh, lesson learned."
Ooh, that is. Ooh, yeah, that's not worth it. That's not worth it. Ooh, that's.
Definitely not. But one thing to note with this, since we're on that topic, if you get one of those legendary maps, hold on to it. Get a group in there. Sell the spots. You can have 4 people join. Well, 3 people join you, and they will get their own drops from it.
Yep. Those spots are going hot. They are. You can sell them pretty well. Definitely. Oh yeah. Speaking of. Oh my God. Speaking of resources and what you need for Argos. So, one streamer was all doing free to play, and he bought crazy amount of mats. I think he spent 200,000 gold.
Ooh.
And it was not enough. It was not enough. He was like, I think, 1 item level off that he could actually go into Argos after like going broke with 200,000 gold. He finally did it then today, but it's like the amount of stuff you have to put in there to get to Argos. It's kind of ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and I've someone told me, because I haven't, like I said, we're gonna be hopefully T3 sometime. But you don't go up as quickly either when you get a hone. It's like half of a level.
Yeah, it slows dramatically. Yes, it's very different then. But so speaking of not always wanting to farm and needing more resources, so something they announced which is coming later, but then they also didn't talk about the other stuff. Like the patch notes we got were not like the full picture. And people are still trying to figure out what we actually got and what we didn't. So they announced that PvP Season 1 is also coming by the end of March. We are finally getting PvP Season 1. Awesome. So we still have to wait. It's still like 2 weeks or something till we get it. And I'm trying to prepare a little bit for it because I want to climb the ladder and whatnot. But what we do get, and they haven't mentioned that in the patch notes, we are now getting those, what are they called? Sigils. We're getting now some sigils from doing PvP.
I was gonna say, I saw in the welcome thing that they were there now. If you completed your battleground things, you got some sigils for the season.
Exactly, but there is no currency exchange for it yet. There is no NPC, so you are farming those sigils, but you cannot use them really for anything. And in the other versions, you can normally also buy honing materials with it. So sometimes when I have a day where I really don't want to farm, I can just do some PvP, get my sigils there, and then when the whole system is coming in, I hope I can just buy the stuff I need to upgrade further. So it is actually now feasible to do PvP, and you don't feel like you are wasting your time, besides of learning to get better, right?
Yeah. I still have yet to actually touch Proving Grounds.
It's fun. It's kind of weird. Like I talked about this yesterday when I recorded the gameplay you were seeing, by the way, running in the background. Like PvP is relatively big in Lost Ark, which still surprises the developers. Like even they said in recent interviews, they didn't anticipate it. They didn't anticipate that PvP becomes so big, and they don't fully understand why, because they haven't really done for PvP. Sure, they have their seasons like every 2 months or 3 months or whatever, but they haven't really done anything for the PvP players. didn't really edit any new arenas, didn't do like a lot of PvP balance, and they want to change that in 2022, so I'm actually looking forward to that. But it's fun. It's fair. That's the important part. Unfortunately, group PvP doesn't exist. Well, like not the deathmatch.
World PvP type concept? Oh, no, never mind.
No, they're actually working on, or in South Korea, there is now a new continent, which is World PvP. They have established a new continent in South Korea, actually. And you have to choose like one of the two factions. I think one is like a Holy Knight Paladin faction, and the other one is like Vikings. And so you're fighting for one of the factions over the continent, and you have to do quests there, and you have to do other things. I have to admit, I really didn't look into it because I have no clue when we are getting that here over in the West. I don't expect it anytime soon. But they are now starting to do PvP more on Lost Ark, which is good. I think we are on a good way there. What else? Let me see. Did something else came with the patch? Like, we both didn't do Argos, and I also didn't watch. Have you watched anybody doing Argos?
No, not yet.
Me neither, I have to admit.
I've been very picky with how I'm introducing myself to these things. Like, I try and encounter them originally, try and see what's going on, then I read about the encounter, and then I'm very picky on how I'm spoiling myself, I guess you could say.
Sometimes I wish that people would spoil maybe themselves a little bit. Like, oh my gosh. So, story time with Mole. I was doing Helgaia, I think, the Phoenix, right? And now I'm doing the Frost version of her, Frost Helgaia, or whatever it's called. And the mechanic of that boss is super simple, right? At some point, it charges itself up, and you have to stagger her before that happens. You have to stagger her. It's as simple as that. If you don't manage it, she goes into phase 2. And then you have to basically stagger her again, or she goes into phase 3, where she really starts to kill you, right? And I literally had groups who were screaming at me to stop staggering her. It's like, wait, what? Why? Yeah, no, you don't stagger her. No, you stagger her. No, you don't stagger her. You run away. You cannot stop her from transforming. That's how it goes. You don't stagger her. And they said that with a level of confidence where I was just like biting into my table. Like,
yeah, see, and that's why I say, like, I totally agree. People should 100% get spoiled to a point, because that's how I am too. Like, I try. I give you an example. The last boss in tier 2 for the raid. I can't remember his name right now. But we did a quick read on him, and I was like, okay, let's go in, let's take a look at him and try and understand what's going on. And the only thing we couldn't figure out was his one phase, because like the thing said, oh, he's gonna glow blue at one point. We're trying to see when this is happening. We couldn't see it. I'm like, you know what? I pull up a video. Even after pulling up a video, I still couldn't really see it. But like, if you are having problems with the mechanics or anything like that, absolutely look up a resource to get through it. You don't want to be, like, well, with the rage, you can at least go in solo, but you don't want to be trying to drag your group through the mud if they're not willing to do the wipe fest with you type thing.
Yeah. Like, especially it's like when somebody tells you like how the mechanic works, and then you're putting your foot down and you were like, no, that's not how you do it. So how do you do it? You run away. No, like, what? Like, it's really like the point I want to make here is I really have to see to find like a good group for Argos, because it seems like people are already failing at the basic stuff in this game. Like, come on, a stagger fight where you literally have nothing to do but stagger the enemy with one ability. You are failing at that? Oof. And I see more and more of those groups. Like, oh, Albahastic. Yeah, Albahastic was apparently the one you were talking about. Yeah. I haven't done Albahastic yet.
He's very fun. I love the mechanics. It's just hard to see the one thing.
Yeah. I mean, they... quick note, if we're on the topic right now, there is a bug with Tytalos. So, funny enough, they haven't explained what the bug is. They just tell you, please don't do Tytalos right now, because it seems like he is bugged. But it seems like we have already figured out what it is, because I've seen the bug. So I first thought there was a mechanic, but it seems like it's a bug. For everyone who has not done Tytalos yet or doesn't remember, it's the boss in the desert, and at some point they're like little...
The lion boss with the whirlwinds.
The whirlwinds, dust devils, whatever you want to call them. And you have to stand in them to get invulnerable for a few seconds when he does his mega roar and just tries to kill everyone in the vicinity. And this seems to be the bug. So when not all people manage to get into the whirlwind before his super ability goes off, the next phase, where he will do that again, and given you of course survived it, he will not spawn any whirlwinds. He just does his ability without any whirlwinds. And you effed. So I first thought, okay, that's how it works, right? When you screw up the first phase, you would die in the second phase guaranteed. And that's basically the punishment. Well, as it turns out, that seems to be the bug. There should be whirlwinds again when he does it a second time and somebody screwed it up in the first phase.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I was hearing and I was kind of gathering that they were running out of time to kill him, and there was like a health issue.
No, that doesn't seem to be a problem. I never had that problem to occur.
Like, yeah, neither did I, but I never... Well, put it this way, it's been a while since I've been in there at the 580, because they said specifically with that gear level, the 580, 600, because you are stuck in that area until you get to 600, because then you have to do the story, and then you can do the next raid, but you're stuck at that raid.
Yes.
Until then.
It's, oh my god, I have to admit, when I finally had a group, and it took me like 4 or 5 groups, we finished Tytalos. I never did go back there. I did it once, was ready to proceed to the next one, and I was done. Like, that boss, suck it. Like, I hated that boss. What is the most annoying Guardian raid for you so far? What was the most memorable where you were just like, yeah, screw you. Never again.
Give me a second. Let me look at the board. Give me a second. I can get to this one. Where is that little bastard? It's the
yes.
It's the brother to Tytalos. The what is it? Achites or Achiates? The white lion. He's the raid level 3, tier 2, last one.
Oh, with the wings.
Yes.
The angel lion.
His mechanics are super simple. If you get them down. However, he constantly is either dazing you, stunning you, pushing you around. Like, it's just so much going on that for a melee class, because that's what I've been playing lately, he is just a freaking pain in the butt. But otherwise, it's a very fun one. But I curse it out every time because I'm just like, ah!
Really, Arcadus? Ha! I have only done him once, I have to admit, or I think twice, right? But I didn't feel like he was significantly problematic to me.
It's not that he's hard. It's that it's like a like okay, with for example the one below it, the Calvinus.
Calventus.
Like I can farm him super fast, super easy.
Yeah.
This one you can't. It's like it kind of is a little gated with itself, and like I said, with the way the mechanics are, it really people have to be on top of it for the mechanics, and then on top and with that, he just stuns so freaking much.
I mean, Calventus stuff does the same thing, right? Like, I think every normal attack of Calventus is a stagger.
Mm-hmm. He can get that way, yeah.
But then again,
his overall mechanic is fairly simple, though, so you don't have to worry about all these extra things on top of the stuns.
True. I get that. Yeah, for me, the most, like, besides of Tytalos, I think and this is just something I have not figured out. I still don't know how it works, and I'm a little bit afraid of it because I think that one is coming back later. Yeah, it's coming back at level 5 as a tier 3 Guardian raid, and that is Flame Fox Yoho.
Oh, I love that one, though. That
Yoho.
So that in my opinion is my favorite one.
I don't get it. I especially like I didn't get how to stagger them. I didn't get how the mechanics work. Like
All about the flame with that one. All about the flame.
I get that you are not like should stag up the flame debuff. I get it. But it's like there were like a lot of moments where I was just like, okay, how am I supposed to dodge that specific attack? And I think you don't. You just eat it.
There's certain ones that you should eat. Like the one I will tell you, one of the biggest tips is when her tail glows, she's about to do her flame breath. Mm-hmm. That's the one you absolutely want to eat. If you can eat that, get in front of it, eat it, because that's going to, give you the buff to start dealing massive damage to her, and so on and so forth. Then, of course, she does the orbs that go around her. One person will only get the buff when that happens. But basically, for group-wise, as soon as you see her tail go up, if everyone can get in front of her and take that hit, everyone will get that buff.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
She's in my opinion, like she's probably the most. She's just beautiful. I love that boss. So real quick, I have to say this because I've been holding it in for so long. So remember how I was so excited about getting that cube ticket?
Yes.
I got 2 lucky stages on it, and before opening my box, I had 120 moonstones from that run.
Nice.
And I opened my box and I had 135. I am 1 piece away from hitting T3. I've gotten no fails. Wow. 1 piece away from T3. I just need a few more leap stones.
Oh,
and I'm
go get him. Go get him. And sometimes I have to admit, for the first time, I just realized today that you're not getting a lot of resources out of the Guardians.
Mm-mm.
I'm actually
doing the raids.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of disappointed by that. Like, I have never really looked too much at it for whatever reason, right? I was just like, oh yeah, resources, take it.
It's the first time kills where you get the bonus.
Yeah.
The first time you kill them. After that, it's kind of like just blow your orb and get what you can out, and then, even then, you don't get much for the orbs. So.
Which I have to say, I think that's a problem a bit for me, because like sometimes you have those really shitty groups. Like I'm at the point where I'm farming Frost Helgaia, whatever, the Frost Phoenix, and man, I have some groups. We are done after 8 minutes. 8 minutes, bam, fastest thing you can do. We are out of there. I had a group today which took 17 minutes.
Wow.
17 minutes. It's just not worth it.
It's getting those mechanics down, because sometimes that's all it is. Because, like, for example, the one I was talking about, if you don't get his wings down, it's gonna take you significantly longer to get him down, because he's basically enraged while his wings are up.
Yeah. I mean, I have it a little bit easier as a gun lancer. Like, first of all, everyone gets big eyes when I'm joining the group. Right? They're like, "Oh, he can spot. I can hit the enemy in the back most of the time." Whee! Like, they're super happy about that. But also, like, the amount of stagger you can throw out as a gun lancer, because every ability is like a mid to super high stagger ability,
Yep.
no matter what you do. And it's like, I have a lot of like mechanics where when I talk to other people and I'm like, yeah, I just did this specific boss, they're like, I hate the boss so much. It is so shit. Oh my god. You barely can hit them in the back. You don't have to stagger enough. Oh, I hate it so much. And I'm sitting here and be like, what? What do you mean? Like, what? Oh, that boss is pretty simple. What? It would be really, really awkward if I should ever switch from my gun lancer to another class, which I intend. And it will be one of the most squishiest classes in the game.
Sorceress, have fun. That's why I left my sorceress. Like,
Yeah.
you're talking about all this stuff, and I'm like, yep, that's why I went to my berserker, because I actually can. I feel like I can counter now. I feel like I can actually stagger and do stuff. Like, I feel like I'm actually contributing to the team.
That's great. By the way, if you were playing a sorceress in PvP, I find a new co-host for this show. Just saying.
No, I'm not even touching my source anymore. She's just sitting, collecting dust.
Sorcerers in PvP can just like bugger off. They are so annoying. They're the worst. They're not a lot of like classes I fear in PvP, but the sorceress is just, it's too much. It's just too much. However, Guardian raids. So right now, don't touch Tytalos. Yup. He is backed. And you shouldn't get there. Speaking of you shouldn't get there. So I think it actually happened last Sunday. I think it happened after our podcast, if I still remember this correctly. Yeah, pretty sure it did. So after our podcast, basically Lost Ark posted their roadmap. They posted their roadmap for what they have planned for the next 3 months when it comes to Lost Ark. Right? Like which classes are coming, which content we can expect. And for the next 3 months, we would have gotten 2 new classes. The Destroyer, which is the big hammer dude. And then in May, we would have gotten the Arcanist, which I'm looking forward to. Yay. The Card Mage. That's what the Arcanist is. And then they also announced some other stuff. And they even had like multiple websites reporting on this. And they made it a big deal. And then I think not even an hour into the post, they removed it. Like roadmap did go boom, just poof, gone. And even the websites had to take down their news. Like all those big sites had to take it down. And the roadmap was gone. And then they were posting, hey folks, like we take the feedback we got into consideration. And things might now change. And we will publish a new roadmap soon. So, that was a week ago. We didn't get anything. Have you seen the roadmap? Or have you at least heard of it a bit? Or
I heard about it. I missed it when it was published. So I've only unfortunately have gone by hearsay and stuff. Like I didn't actually even see the stuff because I think most people, because like you said, a lot of people did report about it. I think a lot of people even got rid of that originally. I don't know because I haven't actually seen a lot of stuff anymore.
Like the only way, like I got also too late. Like I only saw it because it was Sunday. I had other things to do. It was the middle of the night. You know how it goes sometimes. And I just saw it popping up in my Feedly I'm using to sort my news. And I was like, wait a second, how did I miss this? So I clicked on the news and I got a 404, right? I got a 404 and I was like, what the hell is going on? So I used the Wayback Machine to look at the archive, and there I could find the roadmap. There was the only way how I could find that. But yeah, they completely removed it, and they didn't, like, they also put out a very weird tweet. They didn't explain it. They didn't say that they have already tweeted and put out a roadmap. Like, their tweet only said, please be aware, we are currently making adjustments to our upcoming content roadmap based on player progression data. We will be sharing an updated roadmap following our March update. We apologize for the delay and appreciate your patience. Like they made
I
it.
saw that one.
Yeah, they make it sound like as if they had to postpone the posting of that roadmap. I was like, no, you posted it and then you pulled it. What? I don't get it. So this is now from March 8th. Yep. That tweet was from March 8th. And well, we didn't hear anything. Like not even a whisper. I wonder, and this is where I just want to pick your brain a bit. What do you think spooked them? From the initial reaction.
I have a feeling they kind of want to see where people are at this week. I think like everything kind of just dropped a lot. There is a lot of people complaining about not being able to even get to the most recent content, right? But let's be real, like not everyone's going to be able to get to it right away. But you know, people already have that kind of feeling, right? So maybe they're kind of like, okay, well, let's step back and maybe we will do something else depending on how people are truly progressing this week, especially with the new event that's in there and stuff like that. They could very well, like, you know, people saw the catch-up mechanic. That could very well be a possibility still on the table. Who knows? Like at this point in the game, I've gotten to stop speculating what the developers are doing. I actually fairly trust what they've been doing overall.
Yeah.
They've been pretty apparent. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's stuff everyone's waiting for, new classes and stuff. But overall, they've been pretty open about what's been going on.
It's like, I think maybe so. Yeah, I can see that. I want to add, but I think maybe the class thing, like 2 classes in 3 months, that's not enough. That's too slow. Like we are still, what, 7 classes behind, at least? And like what happens? So let's say they're really just releasing 1 class per month, and they're starting in April. Then we have to wait till what, December, January, till we get like the last class. And what is, if that is the class you were waiting for? Like we talked about this before. Keep in mind, the problem is to get the class up again to the point where you are at now. Let's say you're really waiting for a class like the Destroyer, Arcanist, or whatever, right? And you want to get that class up to Argos. Like, you had to wait till like December. That's a bit much, I think.
Yeah, and and it's kind of like what I was explaining earlier. I unfortunately did the misdeed of switching my character halfway between a tier, and you take a hit for that. Like, if I know a lot of people are waiting for new other classes to really make a main, right, and decide what they're gonna do.
Yep, that's me. I'm
And it's
definitely
unfortunate because that's losing out on prime like grinding, but at least like you could like burn yourself to T1, like get to T2 so I can get your main up. But the thing is, like, you want to stop. You don't want to hone anymore once you get to that point because you're just wasting materials, and you don't want to quest much more either. It's I don't know. It's a bad double-edged sword in my opinion.
Yeah, I get that they want to use it as a like, look, there's new content, right? New classes is easy new content because you really just have to do the class and not new content around that class. But if those classes are already out, it's like, oh, come on. Like, we are still missing the Destroyer, the Lancemaster, the Scouter, the Summoner, Arcaner, Reaper, Artist, and apparently the new class, which is not even out in South Korea, but is teasered and all that, is the Aeromancer.
Okay.
So that is apparently the next class which is coming. Yep. So it's just ignoring that and ignoring the Artist, which is the newest class, right? We would had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 classes. Yep. We are 6 classes too slow. And the crazy part here is Destroyer, Arcaner, and Summoner were release classes in South Korea.
Yeah, I don't understand their thought process on not like releasing the stuff as is. I don't know.
I think the thought process is literally too Asian. You know, this when you are looking at some of the classes and you think, man, they plug that right out of an anime. Like, this is right out of an anime. And not everyone likes that. Like, I have, believe it or not, I have actually friends who are playing Lost Ark and which are very much like, oh, those 10-meter long swords, not a fan. They still enjoy the game, but that's like one of the things where they're like, ugh. And maybe this was a little bit too Asian-esque, like a little bit too anime, which is probably the reason why they swapped out the Summoner for the Sorceress, right? Like, a lot of people were super surprised about this when they announced just after the beta, hey folks, Summoner is out, Sorceress is in. And people were like, wait, what? Why? Yeah, because, like, Sorceress is more like a Western mage with fireballs and all that, and blizzards, like you would imagine a Western mage. So I could see that is probably a problem. Plus, there are some reworks apparently planned. Like, we talked about this before, right? That there's some reworks planned for some of the classes. And it would be a pretty dumb idea to release those classes in the West and then a month later they're telling the people playing this class, oh yeah, all you memorized, all that stuff, yeah, forget about it. It now plays different. Right? Nobody wants that. So, yeah, that is still missing. So we still don't have a roadmap. Now that the March update is out, how high do you think is the chance that we are seeing the roadmap this week?
I don't know. That's kind of what I was about to say. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if we would see it sometime this week. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Especially if they had it already and they posted it, and I kind of feel like they just wanted to monitor, see how the weekend went with the patch, see how people got with progression, because, like, again, with the event that they added in here as well, like, that added so much in terms of what people can get for mats as well to help progress. So
yep.
I have a feeling they're just monitoring to see
where things are at after this and then make their decision, because they've said from the beginning they're going to phase us into everything based upon how they feel we are with everything, because eventually I believe we're supposed to be on the same point as everyone else.
Well,
so.
we have a weird bastard version of Lost Ark here in the West. Like in some areas, we are actually further ahead than Russia is, or even Japan. And in some other areas, we're behind. We have a weird version. This makes this whole thing so complicated. That we are ahead in some things than others. And we are super close to what South Korea does. But yeah, their plan is actually that they would like to have South Korea and the West pretty much on the same patch cycle. Like maybe with a 1 or 2 week difference. So they have to they have to get us there. They have to get us there. Speaking of which, okay, let me ask you a question. It's guessing time. Show me that you were a good guesser. No cheating.
Yes.
So, how many on a percentage level from 1% to 100%, all right? How many people do you think have reached tier 3? How many percentage of the player base here in the West of Lost Ark? Go.
I'm going to say low end. I'm going to end up saying about probably 5% on the low end. High end, I'm going about like 15%. I still think it's low. We'll just put it that way. I still think it's very, very low.
So,
and that's coming from me that has 300 hours. Granted, like I said, I messed up a little bit, but I'm still not T3 and I have over 300 hours in game.
Yeah. So, the amount of players who have tier 3 equipment right meow is 2.3%.
Woo!
And it did go up when the patch came out. It was 1.5%. So it did go up with the patch coming out, because people were probably just waiting for the catch-up mechanic, if it would be in there or not. And then they were just like, okay, it isn't in there. Let's do it. Let's do it anyways. But yeah, 2.3% of the player base. And as we know, officially, they have also announced this week, by the way, that Lost Ark has achieved 10 million players here in the West and 20 million players globally. So we are actually making up half of the player base of Lost Ark.
Are like 5 million of them bots?
Wow!
I'm sorry, I had to throw it out there. Like, I've been hearing the complaints from a lot of people, and I finally started seeing it yesterday, because I went back to Pride Home to start doing catch up on some of the stuff I was missing and so on and so forth. They are all over the place.
Is it really bad? Oh, wow.
Go to Pride Home. I would actually even tell you, I dare you, once you're done with your next match, go to Pride Home and just watch. Just look. You will see them jumping, skipping, teleporting all over the place.
By the way, what you were seeing there is just a recording. That's not. I am not playing PvP at the same time when I talk to you. I am not mentally fit for that. No.
I figured you were just going ham and saying, "Heck it."
I'm not that good, unfortunately. Yeah, my mental capacity is very limited in certain things. I am one of those weird people when they're talking to other people. Like, no matter through what in an MMO, I'm basically just running in circles. You know those people who are running in circles around certain fountains in big cities in MMOs? Yeah, that's me. That's me when I talk to somebody. Yep, right here. That's all I can muster. But, yeah, 2.3% is... Ooh.
It's crazy though, the amount of the bots. I'm telling you, go to Lutera, just hang out in the city. You'll see them come down in waves just from them starting. from the starting zone. Just waves of them come out.
That's crazy. I wonder what they are trying to achieve. Because
I don't know, but I mean, Amazon even said in the notes, like the
1 million.
They said that they were trying to break, like they banned 1 million, but they're trying to do stuff to prevent them from even creating the accounts in the first place.
Yes.
Because they're just rolling in that fast.
I wonder what they have easy anti-cheat for. Not for that, it seems. But it's just weird, like, especially because Lost Ark has a lot of mechanics in place, which kind of... Oh, I have to sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you. The chat didn't hear it. The chat didn't hear it. I could mute myself on the stream. I couldn't mute myself in Discord. I'm sorry.
No worries.
But yeah, like, Lost Ark has a lot of mechanics in place, which makes it kind of tough for bots to take advantage of it. Like, you have to reach 50. Okay, not a big deal. You have to do the main quest. But with bots, sure, they can do that, I assume. No problem. But then what? Like, a lot of the stuff you want to participate, you have to, like, be more than a bot?
So from what I'm seeing and from what it sounds like is happening, and these bots are just creating accounts to farm the easy gold that can be gained from achievements or parts of the story in the early stuff, and then they're doing whatever they need to get rid of that gold, however, and then reselling it, whatever. Because, I mean, like, seriously, you go in the Pride Home, you'll see, like, 30 or 40 of them doing the exact same thing at the exact same time, teleporting the exact same way, everything. And if you, I mean, if you think about it, you get 100 counts to do that, and each account gets 200 gold, and you transferred all to one character and stuff. You know, I have a feeling that's what they're doing.
Okay, yeah, they would at least explain it, because, as I said, like, it's not materials really, and it's also like with the fuel system in place. Like, Lost Ark already has like a lot of systems which make it kind of tough to do like the farming, right? And let me see, I will, in the meantime, I will actually go to the...
Lol, I just figured out why the races are off.
Yes?
Same issue you had about the servers. About that server, the same issue you had about the podcast is the same issues the servers are having. They're not on daylight savings time. They switched the timing. The timing's correct on the server, but the server events are not actually happening on time. Because I was like, someone just typed in guild, I'm doing the race. I'm like, it's supposed to be the even hour. It's not the even hour. It's a half hour. It's the uneven. It's the odd hour. Oh my God. They messed up the events.
No, it's even worse than that. So let me jump in here. This is not the first time. They had the same problem in the beta with some events, and they had it like we had a special server for content creators before the release, right? Like, I was able to play Lost Ark way before the actual release, and that server wasn't synced in on standard time, so it was always an hour off. And I was like, oh no, okay, nobody cares. It's a special server. It's not a live server. Nobody gives a damn, right? And now they're doing like, oh no. Oh, why?
No, I have to wait until 7 now.
That is so weird.
Wait. Now I have to really pay attention, because if everything's off by an hour, does that mean, I'm trying to think, we went ahead an hour, so everything's back an hour. Shit. So that means the island events today are going to happen at 6.
Is Europe also affected of that?
Probably not.
Because
it does, like, someone else, like one of our
No, like, I'm asking chat right now. I'm actually not asking you this time, because I see in chat that they are actually saying the compass is also off.
Yeah.
And this is coming...
The compass has kind of been off for me for like the day one almost.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just curious if EU players have actually realized we're good. Okay, then apparently we're probably screwed up in 2 weeks when we are switching over.
Yeah, when you switch over. Wow.
Excuse me.
No worries.
Now, sorry for that, folks. My throat. Wait. Is my crystalline aura? My crystalline aura is gone. Why is my crystalline aura gone? I have to check that later. Okay, well, that is awkward, to say the least. But back to the actual topic. Now we already have that segue, right? They also released an interesting, what do they call it? They have posted the most pressing issues, like an update. Pressing. And as you already said, like bot bans are like apparently the biggest concern for them. Yep. This is apparently the thing they are focusing the most on right now. And they are trying to ban them as quickly as possible and try to get them before they can get anything out of it. So let's hope for the best there. They also, and this is interesting, they talked about the matchmaking. They have made some big changes to the matchmaking system. Have you noticed any like bad matchmaking behavior when you were going in the chaos dungeons or something like that?
When you say bad behavior, you mean like the player behavior?
No, that the system just, I think USA has never experienced that problem. I think it was a purely EU problem.
I know we've only had like issues, like for example, when we would try and matchmake for a raid, if like we had 2 or 3 people, 9 times out of 10 we can't get the 2 extra or 1 extra person for whatever reason. We have to just go in with what we have. But every other type of matchmaking or whatever seems to be fine. Never, like, even getting, like, once it's been made, we would get in, no problems. Like, I think our only issue we had was probably like launch week when the match would be made. We'd click accept and would be like, oh, you timed out, even though you clicked accept. It was like not letting us in type thing.
Yeah, exactly. That was our problem in Europe, and we had that for weeks. Right, this was not just the launch week, but because our system was completely overloaded, and it seems like it's now completely gone. Like,
That's good.
Since last week, I would say they were basically. I haven't noticed anything, really. Then I have to say, I have to admit that I also switched over my playtime to mostly like late evening. So I try to evade most of the issues anyways. But yeah, I haven't. It's the same with queues, right? Like queues seem to be now, like, I know again in the US, most servers didn't even had a problem. But it seems like now, like, the queues are gone. Like, I don't even know what a queue looks like anymore.
Yeah.
Which is good.
All the servers, at least on the US East side, like I barely see any that are showing even busy. Like our server shows busy and like 2 other ones, and that's it. Everyone else's shows good.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. Like, European servers are still all busy.
At least not on the east side.
Interesting. Huh. Well, that's good to hear. I mean, That's good. Yeah, I don't see any bots here where I am right now. So that's a thing.
Go to if you go to like I said, I was in Pride Home where a bunch were at.
Yeah, I'm in Pride Home right now. Lock Hill, Pride Home. There's nothing going on. Nope.
Oh, maybe it's just a US issue. That's Vern.
Maybe?
You're in Vern.
No, again, you were looking at a recording.
Oh. I'm sorry.
I
thought you were showing everybody. I'm sorry.
No, I don't really have anything to show here. No, I'm in Pride Home right now, and like the only problem is that Pride Home is basically empty, and all the other servers are basically also like green. There are only 3 channels, and
I'll share after podcast. I'll share my screen of what we see.
Yeah, that would be interesting because right now there's nothing going on here. Like it's dead. It's pretty dead. Weird.
I'll actually head there now with my other character. Oof.
Yeah, no. There are some players running around, but I'm wondering if those players are like. No, I assume.
You can distinctly tell.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
like,
see them.
These guys are playing, and then all of a sudden.
Oh,
see,
yeah,
like,
they're
jumping.
teleporting. Yeah. I just see this. Let me actually show you this chat.
You get into like a certain spot where they all go, like for handing in a quest or whatever. Then you'll see a bunch of them all jumping there.
And they're all playing Berserker.
Yep. Yeah, there they are. Yep.
Yeah, they are all doing it.
There's your bots.
Whoop, whoop. Wow.
And they all go to the same spots, and you'll see like good 20 of them come down at a time.
That's interesting. It's only 2 of them.
I have right now on my screen. I have 8.
That's
in the same spot that you were just at.
That's interesting. Huh.
I probably have more than that because they're actually stacking on each other in this one spot.
I think they're also only playing Berserker.
That's what I'm seeing on mine, is all Berserkers.
Yeah, I think it's just Berserker because that's probably like the easiest
there goes
one.
The sorcerer.
Oh yeah? Huh. Oh yeah, there are tons of Berserkers here. That is so bizarre. I have not seen that before. Very interesting.
Yeah, I just started running into it yesterday when I finally was like, okay, I'm going to go back and try and get this. And I started seeing all these people teleport, and I'm like, what the fuck? Sorry, my language.
Yeah, that's... Huh. I think because Circus and Sorks are the ones which you can farm the most easiest.
And that's why they said that they were going to go back and redo some of the welcome tasks to give you silver versus gold and stuff like that too, to help eliminate the easy stuff.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Interesting. All right. Well, that was certainly fascinating to say the least. All right. Well, more things we have learned. Cool. But going back to our list here, so the matchmaking seems to be in order now. They are also working on the language filter. With last week's update, we added a chat filter for players to select specific languages. This is a new feature for Lost Ark that was developed in direct response to players' feedback that area chat could sometimes get confusing when multiple languages were being used. Yes, this is especially a problem in Europe, where we still don't have like specific English servers, specific German servers, and so on and so forth. And you also realize that in groups, and it's a problem. Like, I had groups in the Abyss dungeons where the people couldn't speak English, and when you were basically talking about certain boss fight mechanics, they were just standing around and they were like, what? They didn't understand because they didn't speak English, right? And it's sometimes a bit frustrating in that regard. Actually, funny enough, I had a group full of Italians, and they were knowing the dungeon, and they were super nice. They were also barely speaking English, but they were super nice. So language filter is a good thing. Speaking of languages, have you the feeling that the in-game text is getting worse with errors and all that?
What do you mean? I
They have sometimes so many typing errors in the game.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. First I thought you were still talking about the chat aspect of things, but now you're talking about like the actual translations with their dialogues and stuff. Yeah.
I think it gets worse. I think the latest patch really broke like a lot of stuff. They even I don't know which Guardian raid it is, but there is one Guardian raid where they even spell the Guardian wrong.
Oh, wow.
It's like, what is going on here? Can somebody please look at this? It's like, I have the feeling it got worse with the typos. So you didn't have that feeling?
Well, to be honest with you, I skim over a lot of stuff when it comes to the story.
I mean, it's not even the story. It's like, as I said, like daily.
Well, yeah, I don't really pay attention that much when I'm doing it. Like I've gotten into my grind at this point where the spelling of stuff, like I see it and it could be like one of those, I can't remember what it's called, but it's where the spelling of it, we think it's actually spelled one way, but it's actually spelled another way. Like, I can't remember what that's called. But like I could see it, and just because I look at it, I just feel like, oh yeah, that's the right spelling, just because I'm used to seeing it, type thing.
Yeah. I just was trying to find the raid where they misspelled it, but there was something with the Guardian raids. They screwed it up somewhere in the Guardian raids. I don't find it yet. Like, it was so obvious when I saw it, and I was like, oh no, how did you miss that? And yeah, all right. Next thing, and this is apparently about bug reporting and fixing. And they're saying that as we continue to update Lost Ark, we introduce new content into Western release. New bugs and issues will inevitably arise in most cases. And issues and bugs require a client patch. Because of this, unless something is game-breaking or causing extremely widespread issues, most fixes will roll out during our weekly updates. Makes sense, right? But have you reported any bugs yet? Have you actually seen like bugs, like really bugs which were preventing something or annoying you?
We thought in one of the raids there was a possible bug, but I think we were just it was just getting the mechanic down properly. Like we haven't really noticed. Well, like at least I haven't really noticed anything buggy. Like I have a few community members like, oh, this quest is bugged, this is whatever, and it's like, dude, did you do it on a different character? Oh, it's there on that character. I haven't run into actually like any bugs per se that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Other than when they did the first little patch, they broke the stronghold bug.
Yeah, I had one game breaking bug, and that was when the game was not even out, when we were on the special servers. There was a game breaking bug, but if it doesn't matter even. Oh, by the way, I found the spelling error. Behold the subtext of Frost Hellgeyer. The white text.
Yep, I see it.
And it's like, oh, come on, folks. Come on, man. Who's doing the proofreading here? Like, come on, man. Really? It's like, sometimes you don't know what a machine does or what a human does, but that looks pretty much like a human error.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like sometimes you were typing so fast that you were doing those switcheroos.
Yep.
And that looks pretty much like a human error. It's like, all right, oh well. But yeah, so bugs. But yeah, since the release, like, ignoring the newest bug we have with good old Tytalos, I don't really think that we had anything game breaking really. At least not on my end. I can't remember.
Yeah, I definitely haven't run into anything. Like the only thing that stood out, well, like I said, was that stronghold crafting bug.
What was that?
It was before the Argos patch. It was the patch before Argos. They basically, if you had the double research open for your stronghold where you could research multiples, it was only showing your one and the timer.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. Yes.
Yeah, that was the only bug that I experienced, and it wasn't like game breaking. It was just annoyance because the UI was broken, so you had to kind of work around it, so to speak.
Yeah, they had a similar problem with the research in the guild thing, that you could only research for one guild slot instead of two.
Yeah, and it sounds like that would be very similar with what it was doing. With
yeah. Okay, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but so far, I mean, it seems like even with, like, Argos was the first bigger patch for sure, and they didn't break much.
It's not New World. Woo!
I will not comment on that. This is a Lost Ark show, sir. We do not comment on New World. We just pretend it doesn't exist. That's, I mean, it's the same thing Amazon does now with the game, but hey, you know, like, no, I'm joking. Like, New World is still getting new content. I don't want to say it gets still support. That would be the wrong term. It still gets content though. But yeah, I think with that though, we are done, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That was a lot. We did go for a lot, but we also started sooner, technically, at least on my clock. But yeah, we are. If you
Actually,
don't
I
have
did message
anything,
someone else, I was like, "Hey, is our times good, or we need to change something as well? Because I have another thing later." I'm like, "Dang it, time zones." Woo!
yay! Dude, I'm suffering from that for years now. I feel you. But yeah, I would say we are wrapping it up. If you don't have anything to throw in,
I'm good.
That
Thanks
is-
for joining us, everyone.
yes. But before we leave, as always, Beaver, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/BVR live, or you can find me over on trovo.live/BVR.
You will also find the link already in the video description. If you want to click on that, do it, do it. And you will also find me from Monday to Friday on trovo.live/ChaosMole. We will continue our Elden Ring run tomorrow. Yay, more dying. Woo! I got a new weapon though, chat. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I made a mistake. And yeah, you can find me there from Monday to Friday, starting at 9 a.m. ET, which is 2 p.m. UK time and 3 p.m. Central European time. And you can also find me on Twitter with twitter.com/ChaosMole FX, because somebody stole my ChaosMole and it's a stupid bot account. It's like one of those accounts which tweeted twice in 10 years, and the only thing they tweeted was, make $10,000 per day working from home.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting that account back. Twitter is like, not our problem. It's like, who knows if the person ever comes back? Thanks, Twitter. But yeah, you can find me there. And of course, if you're watching this already on the YouTubes, please make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, and also would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. We have actually tons of Lost Ark videos coming up. Really have a long list now of things I want to talk about, especially with the newest Argos patch. A few things have changed, a few new additions are in, and there's tons to talk about. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. With that said, folks, thank you so much for watching. I hope I see you next time. Until then, stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye.